through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Was that unbelievable? Please come up and do it again. Thank you for the opportunity and certainly the singular honor to be able to be here today and talk about our appreciation of our employees here in the county as well as longevity. I have to tell you, having now served a whole 106 days, actually 115, Rakesh, where are you at? Is that correct? 115 at 5 o'clock today, right? I have to tell you, some of you have served 5, not here, the ones at 5 and 10 are not here, but 15, 20, 25, 30, and even 35 years. We were talking just a few moments ago, I said, I know of only one other person who has ever worked in one place for 30 years. Maybe you know many, but I've only known one. That's my wife. Her first job out of college with UT was with General Motors, and the last check she ever got was GM. And it was just shy of 35 years. It's amazing. But as I thought about that, and I thought about the amount of time that many of you have spent here, I thought, well, again, I've only been here 115 days. How can I talk about longevity? Well, I was in another job previous to this where I was for 14 years. And I thought about that, and I thought about the characteristics of our county, but specifically our people. And yes, to be sure, I think we'd all agree, yeah, we pay pretty good, got good retirement, take vacation time, provide for our families. But even though on the surface those are maybe reasons why we're here, I believe most of us here today, just from what I've seen, and the ability to achieve and accomplish things, most of you could go somewhere else and earn those things. So what are the reasons why people stay? And this is what I see. I see that I watch how you deal with each other. Now, you and I know there's exceptions to all these things. But I watch how kind you are to one another. I watch how you help each other. I see this all the time. I see how you encourage one another. I see a person step in for someone else to assist. And I watched our emergency management guy the other day with Jason Miller, keeping track. Where are you at, Jason? You're here somewhere. Was with Melissa, and what you guys did and when those pipes went out and how everybody came together to make this work. I have to tell you, that was amazing. It was amazing. What we expected to take all day, possibly even into the night, was accomplished in a few hours because just ordinary people got together, they worked as a team, and accomplished extraordinary things. It was awesome. It truly was. So for me personally, I have to tell you, I've been helped by so many of you as I've transitioned into this position, been encouraged, forgiven as needed. And it's been really an awesome experience.
I'm so excited to be here today to introduce you. For those of you who don't know, or for those of you who do, you can look proudly upon her as I do. This is Robin Cooksey, and Robin is getting her 30 years in today.
Wow.
So for those of you who don't know, Robin is a court reporter by trade, but what I've seen over the many years that I've known Robin is it's not really a trade for her, it's really a calling. And she's committed to excellence in everything about taking down the record that kind of becomes the backbone of our justice system. She is diligent about making sure she's got names spelled right. She is diligent about making sure that people speak up so that she can hear them clearly. She can take down people who talk fast, people with thick accents, it matters not. She's there, she's on top of her game, and she does great work. And it's just objectively true, because Robin is more than just the court reporter for a court. Robin has served for 4 different courts, or 4 different judges in this county. Her first court was the 2nd 9th District Court, and if you're thinking, what is that? Talk to Robin later, she will explain it to you. But we did have that at one time. It ultimately morphed into 410th District Court, which she worked under another judge. Then she came over to the 284th District Court, and I'm the 2nd judge that she has worked with there. You know, ultimately, but I'm just thrilled that she's actually a part of this. And make no mistake about it, she is a true leader in the court reporter community. She is leaving on a plane this very afternoon to go to Washington, D.C. to do more of her work for the different committees and boards she serves on for court reporting. She writes the tests that court reporters take. She encourages people to become court reporters. She mentors them. She's a leader in her community, and she has served this community for 30 years, and how lucky are we that she has.
I'm presenting David Gotthard. He's been here for 25 years. David is the epitome of the best employee I could ask for. He's the most dependable guy that I could ask for. There's no job too big, there's no job too small for David. David always has a smile on his face. David is just there when I need someone to complain to. So I'm always appreciative of Dave. But he's just the guy that when you think about Precinct 3, you think about David Gotthard, because he's been here so long, but he's also just a great guy. So I thank you, David, for your years of service.
Robert Langford is our construction coordinator in community development, but he's so much more than that. He manages so many different aggravating federal guidelines and rules, from Davis-Bacon, which I'm sure none of you know what that means, to environmental appraisals and everything in between. He's out browbeating the construction contractors and keeping projects on track constantly. And in the office, he is also our confidant and somebody that I complain to constantly about everything. He's the one that keeps me in line and keeps telling me to put down the stick and quit poking the tiger. And he has been with the county for 20 years. 2.5 in environmental, and then what must seem like an eternity in community development. I can't take credit for Robert. I inherited him from my predecessor, but he is the best gift that Nancy McKeska ever gave me. And I hope that he stays at least as long as I'm here with the county. I don't lose him. Thank you.
Yeah, oh, it's not for me. Oh. When I first got elected back in 2000, took office in 2001, I called Mike, asking him to come work for me, and he turned me down. Yeah, a couple of years later, he decided he would like to come over and challenge what I had for him. And over the years, he's taken that challenge pretty good. I've put a lot on his plate over the years. He's been with me about 16 plus years. And over those 16 years, I promoted him up and got him to where he's at today as my chief deputy. He's done a great job. He's worked hard for Montgomery County. He's worked hard for Precinct 2. Like I said, I put a lot on his plate over the years, and he has been able to handle each and every bit of that I put on his plate. And on top of me putting stuff on his plate, the good Lord above, I put a lot. that on your show. Thank you.
It's my distinct pleasure to award Mark his 20-year pin. He's been with Montgomery County a little over 21 years now. 13 years for the district attorney's office, the last 8 years with the county attorney's office. He is head of our juvenile division now, and I've been practicing law in this community for 35 years now. I can honestly say that Mark is one of the finest lawyers I've ever known, as well as worked with in my 35 years. And thank you very much, Mark.
This is Lisa Alfield. Lisa is receiving a 20-year pin, and she came to work for Montgomery County when she was about 22 years old, I think it was, in 1998, shortly after I took office. And you can imagine, I've had an opportunity to sort of watch her grow over the years, and to grow up, I guess, in some respects, because at that age, at that time, she was living in Tarkington, eventually moved to Montgomery County, was there when she married, and sort of watched her directly and indirectly, or heard stories about her trying to raise her kids and get that job done. And so when you kind of add it all up to where she is now, in a year or two, she will have spent half her life working here as a part of this county and as a part of this family in the county clerk's office. Scary, isn't it?
Yes. Put it that way.
Yeah. But she supervises our civil group in the courts, which is a handful of civil cases, I guess, but the more important things are probate and guardianship cases and mental health cases that she is responsible for. And she's a real leader, I guess, in some respects, because we went through the software transitions trying to get from where we were to the Odyssey software. She was one of those people that is not afraid of change and not afraid of transition, and she was eager to jump in and to learn and to explore the new things, the challenges that offered, and never backed up from any of it. And so it's made a huge difference in terms of where we are today internally, as well as where things will go and continue to go in the years ahead. So I appreciate everything that you've done. It's been a pleasure watching you become the person that you are and the employee that you are, and just thank you so much for that. This is sort of the other Lisa, I guess maybe in my life to some degree, at least for a short period. I tend to call her me Lisa because Melissa, I tend to want to spell with two S's, but with the one S, when I sort of think of it as me Lisa, that sort of allows me to focus on the one S rather than the two. Melissa also came to work for the county. In fact, I think in the same month, May of 1998. So a little bit different path than Lisa in the sense that she was kind of a lifelong resident here, went to Conroe High School, not Tarkington. And, but I can tell you that whereas, or in contrast, where I've sort of suggested that I had watched Lisa grow up and mature in so many ways, I really didn't know too much about Melissa until we got into the Odyssey software program conversions and changeover. And that was on the order of something maybe 5 to 6 years ago when all of that began. But it was obvious very early on, and certainly as we got more and more into it, that she was very talented, that she was very knowledgeable about the things that were going on in the office where she was working, and just had tremendous potential. But I also, in addition to becoming aware of her abilities, was aware that she had a goal, something that she was interested in trying to accomplish. And you know, goals are not always easy things to set for ourselves or to accomplish. There's obstacles, there's roadblocks, there's things that just get in the way. And I've heard it said that fear is one of the greatest killers of goals, that we just never even try. We just give up before we even get started. But she continued undeterred in her goal and trying to pursue it, and exhibited great courage, I think, both internally and externally, going through the process and the trials and tribulations of an election cycle. So I'm very, very pleased to be able to give you a 20-year pin. And I hope that, as a newly elected official in this new role that you have, I hope that you're very proud of yourself in terms of what you've been able to accomplish, because I'm certainly am.
It's really going to be hard to do this without crying. Valerie began working for the district clerk's office in September of '98. So we have about the same amount of experience and time, and there's a lot to be said about Valerie. She's a very sweet lady, kind and compassionate, the kind of coworker you want to have. She's received many compliments throughout the years, saying she's friendly, she's patient with customers, she's very competent in her job. I would agree with all of that. Valerie is all of that and more. It's been a pleasure to work alongside you all of these years, and I look forward to 20 more. And you have a beautiful voice. And Valerie Williams. So Valerie has just a few months on me. She started in March of 1998. And I would say it's been a pleasure to work alongside Valerie Williams as well. She is also the kind of coworker you'd want to have. She's very friendly, kind, and sweet to everyone. Valerie's the type of worker that shows up every day no matter what. She's the kind of worker you want to have working on your team, and I'm super proud of your dedication and your commitment to our team and always being there and willing to take on new responsibilities and tasks as we give them to you. It's very much appreciated. Here's your 20-year pin.
Good afternoon. This is Marta Rangel. Perhaps I am not the right person to be given this recognition to Marta. Why? Because she's been here longer than I have. But I can tell you that the little that I know Marta, I can proudly tell you how honored I am of being able to present this recognition to her. She's not only a dependable, honest, reliable, hardworking person. She's a hardworking mother that is always willing to be a team player with the people she works with. And what I know, according to our records, is that Martha started in August of 1998. And she started as a temp. So thankfully, our director back then, Judge Mack, decided, Martha's a keeper. So she became a full-time employee. And I wish our current director, Lorena Garcia, was able to be here. Unfortunately, she's had to tend to a personal, very matter out of state. But she did want you to know how much she appreciates you, how much we appreciate you, everything that you have given to the county with Montgomery County Custodial Services. We take pride, and I know Marta takes pride in everything she does, and we take pride in her. So thank you for your service. We appreciate you. And I want to say it in Spanish because her mom is here. Su hija es una gran trabajadora y estamos muy orgullosos de ella. Y espero que usted también esté orgullosa de su hija. Muchas gracias. Gracias, Marta.
So I'm honored to present this to Ms. Claudette on behalf of our chief, Bruce Gussler. Congratulations, Ms. Claudette. Ms. Claudette is our HR specialist for juvenile probation. She single-handedly takes care of about 120 of us and does an outstanding job at that without missing a beat. In Bruce's words, he said, "I simply don't know what we would do without her." She's also the kindest-hearted person I've ever met, and not only will bend over backwards to help anyone in need, she has also raised or nursed back to health countless baby birds, squirrels, raccoons, and deer, just to name a few. Finally, Bruce also wanted to mention that she is the 2019 reigning Juvenile Department Bake Off champion as well. Congratulations, Miss Claudette. And I just want to say, you got a little bit of a glimpse into the heart of Claudette, but thank you for being an amazing team player. You come to work with an attitude to serve your county, to serve us as a department and the juveniles that we're there to help. And you're just an amazing person, and we love you, and thank you so much for everything you do.
Patrol deputies together back in the Woodlands in the good old days. Everybody's got good old days in their law enforcement career. We've certainly had a lot of good old days together. I was proud to add Allison to our team as one of our captains. She's got a huge responsibility over the communications, records, and warrants divisions. Who else? Oh, yeah, the training academy. Like, that's kind of small. But the training academy also oversees the recruiting division, which we'll hear from Donald here in a minute. So she's done an amazing job for us for many years, and I am very proud to give your pen to my friend.
Thank you.
Another person I worked with in patrol, so he's you're going to see a familiar theme here, I guarantee that. But Donald is the sergeant over the academy, so one of the hardest working guys. He's so skinny because he's like a hummingbird. The dude never slows down. You see him running back and forth because of all the job responsibilities that he has. Between running the training academy, they just finished a basic peace officers course. Then here they are, Monday they started another one. So they're constantly running them through. And just on top of that, he oversees recruiting and HR. So stays pretty busy, but he wouldn't have it any other way. I'm so proud of you. Appreciate it. Billie Jean Ballard. Billy is accompanied by his wife Christy's here, Megan's here, and his son Ben also works, or their son Ben.
Just his.
Oh yeah. Son Ben works in the jail, so there's a family legacy going on here. And Billy, just a phenomenal employee. He's for many years, obviously he's come through the ranks, so he's done lots of things. But of note, he was essentially a child porn investigator on the forensic digital side of it. So the weirdos that download the child porn, he's had to deal with that for very many years, and just as an absolute case specialist in the knowledge that he has in that field. Finally gave him a break from that and put him on call as a crime scene investigator. So he does a great job doing that. I mean, he gets called out, works these heinous scenes, and so he's dedicated many hours of his life away from his family to this job. So this is a handle to her. Congratulations. Yay, Andrea. Andrea is one of our administrative assistants that works in the Woodlands. Just a wealth of knowledge, great computer skills, knows everything about the agency for many years, had worked in the training academy, and then has served all these years in the Woodlands. Can you imagine the phone calls that she takes from some of those residents that let her have it, you know? So she gives it right back. So I can't believe it's been this long. Congratulations on all these years. Javier, you're going to see a familiar theme here with Javier. We got the brothers coming up here in a minute. But Javier works in the courts. He's a true professional. The court system, the work that they do, guarding our judges, ensuring that the juries are taken care of and witnesses protected. I mean, it's often overlooked, but one of the most important responsibilities of the sheriff's office. So honored for all these years of service that you put in, and so proud of you. bet. And Obi now works over in transportation, from the courts. He went from transportation to the courts, so he's over there as well. Always in a good mood. I mean, you gotta love being around Obi. If you're in a bad mood, you hear a few whistles, and then here we go. So he's got some kind of story to tell and some kind of game to play. So it's great having employees like that around. We all enjoy his great personality, his hard work ethic. He's been getting after it for many years, and hopefully many more. I know. I've been hearing. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Jimmy Malnay. Captain Jimmy Malnay over homicide, violent crimes. Seems like you've been here longer than this. All right, just 30? Just 30 years. So, man, what a great guy. His wife Ernie is here as well, so that's awesome to have her in attendance. Jimmy's just a rock solid guy. We work together on a daily basis as part of our leadership team, and manages one of the most complicated divisions in the whole agency, being over homicide, which includes not only the dead people, but also serious cases like robbery and sexual assault. And he's also over our narcotics units, which there's multiple narcotics units as well. And has taken on this role in our first 2.5 years in office, and we've been knocking it out of the park. So I'm proud of you and hope to work with you in more years, bro. Thanks, sir. CT. Man, the courts are well represented today. That's 3.
And I didn't do so well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm gonna recognize those that did too. So, congratulations, CT. Once again, I mean, look at it, sharp all the time. Always looks good in the uniform. Represents the agency well. Represents the the courts. Represents the judges that he looks out for. Once again, takes care of those juries, and the courts are so blessed, as is the sheriff's office, to have CT Tidwell. His name is Clarence Tidwell, goes by CT. To have CT on our staff for so long, and 30 years, well deserved. Rocky Woodard. Come on up, Rocky. Rocky was an on again, off again, so he made it. So we're just happy to have Rocky here today. He's a great guy. Once again, worked patrol together. He's been around a little longer than I have, but currently assigned to the commissioner's office. You're working with your 3rd commissioner, right? Working with his 3rd commissioner, runs an inmate crew, puts in long hours, deals with those hard-hit criminals, out making them pick up trash on the side of the road. A great service to the community, costs nothing to our taxpayers, and we're blessed to have him doing this job and blessed to have you as a member of our sheriff's office. Congratulations. Y'all got a program in front of you, but some of the employees that weren't able to make it, Jeff Wells is a detective with the Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Bryce Herring, Deputy Sheriff Howes, Tony Madison, Maria Rosales, Judd Russell, Philip Shumpy, Floyd Self Jr., Rodney Van Houten, all 20-year award recipients that weren't able to be here today. They would all like me to believe that they're working too hard to make it. I don't know their specific reasons, but we're going to go with that one. And then our 25-year employees that couldn't make it, Lieutenant Steve Dressel, Deputy Kathleen McLaughlin, and Deputy Lisa Shanahan. So I appreciate all the work you do.
Keith Hardin has been with, obviously, for 25 years. I've known Keith for close to 40 years. He's the kind of employee that makes my job as commissioner a lot easier. He shows up every day. Sometimes he doesn't feel like it, but he shows up and does his job. He doesn't cry, whine, or complain about it. If you give him a different task each day, he gladly goes about and does that, or it's operating heavy equipment or operating 18-wheeler moving equipment. And he's just a pleasure to work with. There's over 60 employees now at Precinct 4, and everybody there likes Keith Hardin. And I'm one of them, and I appreciate your service, Keith, and the good job that you do for the people of Precinct 4. God bless you, brother. I'd like to say something about Captain Jimmy Malnay, if you don't mind. God bless you, brother. There's a case, as I served as justice of the peace, as most of you know, for 16 years, and one of those jobs that you do is difficult at best, is investigating death. And worked many cases with Captain Malmay, but one of them that stands out is that beautiful little 3-year-old girl we worked over in Montgomery Pines that day. Was a very, very difficult case where a fella stood about 6'4", hit her in the abdomen so hard it tore her liver in two, and she bled to death right there all the while crying for her mother. Not a week goes by I don't think about that child. I don't know where you do or not, but I appreciate your service and your hard work through that difficult time with us working together to get some closure for those folks and get an arrest in that such a horrific case. And I appreciate your service to Montgomery County. And thank you so much, Captain Malmay. Also, Sheriff, you and Rocky, for the great job that you're doing. I get a lot of credit for that on social media, but it's a team effort over there of making the place a better place. And I've always enjoyed working with law enforcement. You're not appreciated enough, in my opinion. And anything that I can ever do for you guys, I look forward for working with you guys in the future and trying to make Montgomery County in general a better place. And thank you so much for your service as well, Sheriff, and yours, Rocky. God bless you guys.
I wasn't aware I was going to speak, but I found out today when I got here. So, Cash started in 1989 with the Sheriff's Office, worked in the jail, patrol, and from there went to narcotics. He had a stellar career in narcotics and was known for a lot of things during that time. I don't know if y'all remember the meth boom when it came to town. He worked a lot of long hours. I didn't see him a whole lot during that time. And then he was recruited by the George Bush task force, narcotics task force, which included Montgomery County. And so he went there and worked for a couple years, 3 years. And you know, they finally ran meth out of here, and it's gone north and gone south, so a lot of accomplishments there. This is his 25-year pin. We've been married for 23. Recently, he was elected constable in Precinct 1, which I'm very proud of. I could just stand here and talk about him all day, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff y'all don't want to know. There may be some stuff. But anyway, I'm very proud of you, and give you your pin.
Mary worked for Constable Billy Colson and then worked for Constable Floyd Stewart. And when I got elected in 2000, she came over and sat down and visited with me and told me that she would really like to come work for me and continue to work for Montgomery County. At which time I told her that I would think about it. I told her, yes, I wanted to keep her. And 18 plus years later, I still don't know what she does. I have no clue. But I can tell you one thing, she does a fantastic job. She keeps the office running. She knows everything that there is to know about civil that anybody could possibly know about. And I can tell you that because all four of the four constables here in Montgomery County have contacted our office one time or another over the last 18 plus years to ask Mary questions about certain things that they need to do. Not only Montgomery County, but all out throughout the state of Texas. Constables have contacted Mary to find out how to do certain things because they didn't know. I can tell you that she has a wealth of information. She knows more than I'll ever know, knows more than ever I want to know. She does a fantastic job in working for the office, working for Montgomery County, working for Precinct 2, and working for me. Thank you. One other thing. Yesterday, the United States Marine Corps contacted me and asked me to go to San Diego, to Camp Pendleton, to view what they're doing nowadays at boot camp. I've already been to boot camp, Parris Island, South Carolina, did my time. We called them from California the Hollywood Boys. And I have a chance to go, I'm leaving May 6th through the 10th to spend a week out there to see how they've changed and how they're doing things. And it's quite an honor for me to do that. They asked me to go last year and I couldn't. So they contacted me again this year and asked me if I'd go, and I said yes I would. And I'm honored to do that, and I just wanted to mention that. Thank you all very much.
I'm very blessed to introduce Denise Jimenez, who is currently our communications manager. Met Denise and actually started working with her in 2012. But as a young deputy from Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, if you were on the radio or you had a unit number or you needed TLETS training, everybody knows what that is, you had dealings with Denise. If you needed a password reset or whatever, so you learned early on, don't make Denise mad, because if Denise ain't happy, nobody's happy. So I was actually kind of scared of her. But anyway, when I got promoted to lieutenant, I had the good fortune of working with Denise. She was a communications supervisor then, and I was a lieutenant over communications under Peggy Frankhauser. I got to know Denise's compassion, her work ethic, her integrity, her knowledge base. Her dedication is beyond reproach, and every time one of y'all got up here today to do an introduction, I'm like, yeah, that's Denise. I need to remember that. I can't remember all of it because it's too much. I've never met, ever, a more hardworking person, a more dedicated person than Denise. Talking about family legacies, we tried to count 7 or 8 Jimenez family members who either have worked here, retired, or currently work for the county in some form or fashion, most of whom have worked for the Sheriff's Office. If you've received any kind of training as far as TLETS, Omnix, or anything like that, you've dealt with Denise and her people. She's requested on several occasions to conduct training for agencies outside of the Sheriff's Office, which she gladly does without question. I got one today for one of the local PDs for her to come and teach a class for them. She's always willing to help anyone who asks. She receives multiple phone calls every day. She can juggle. She's got 4 computer screens on her desk and 1 on the wall, and she can have 50 windows open and know what's going on in every one of them. I've never seen anything like it, and I just can't say enough about Denise Jimenez. And today she's receiving her 25-year gift.
I've only been here a week. Don't listen to her.
Folks, this is Assistant Chief Investigator John Stevenson. He joined the Navasota Police Department back in 1977, and then in 1982, he joined the Conroe Police Department. So if you go to Conroe's new office, they have pictures of folks that have been there, and there's a picture of John there. He's got this rockin' mustache and hair like Eddie Van Halen. And in 1988, he joined the District Attorney's Office. There's no employee that's been with the DA's office longer than John Stevenson. So to help you with the math a little bit, he has been in law enforcement for 42 years, which is longer than a lot of our folks have been alive at the DA's office. 42 years. In the military, which I think law enforcement is very similar, they let you retire after 20 because it just takes a toll on you. And he's done 2 of those tours for us. And this is a good man who's done good work for good people for a very long time. One other thing about John, just you have probably met people like this. When you see them in the hall and they're walking on the hall, your spirit just lifts. You just feel better about life. They're rare people, but when you see John Stevenson, that's what you feel like. You feel like life's a little better and it's going to be okay. That's how we feel about this man. So every honor we could bestow on him falls short of what he's done for us. But nevertheless, we are grateful, John Stevenson. Thank you.
I want you to know we've saved the best for last. Rhonda DeLuche came to work for Montgomery County in 1981. She was a high schooler, and she kind of learned from her mom, and I want you to know there's a legacy of service in this family. Jean DeLuche worked for the tax office and then came to work for the library system. And there's David and Linda Gardner, who are legendary for their service to the county. So this has been a very service-oriented family, and Rhonda has carried that on. As a high schooler, she was a shelver. Then she became a full-time employee in the cataloging as a catalog technician. And then she moved into the administrative offices, and we haven't let her go since then. She worked as the assistant to the director under Mike Baldwin. And then I came along in '97, and Rhonda was teaching us the ropes. And her supervisor, Lana Moak, is now the most senior employee in the library. If there were an illustrated dictionary of library service and you looked under the words dedicated, excellence, proficience, and ethic, you would see Rhonda's picture. She is so dedicated to what we do at the library. She brings so much joy to everyone there and to the vendors that we interact with. She puts on the most positive face. She works to make sure that every invoice is right and that it's processed correctly. She's efficient in keeping our records. I've heard several of you say, I don't know how we would get along without that person. Well, we have this team of Rhonda and Lana that they make it all look so easy, but you know they are working and thinking about it every single minute. So I said 5 years ago when I got to give her 30-year pin that I did not have the privilege of hiring Rhonda. She was there when I came, but I am so privileged to be able to work with her, to call her my coworker and my friend. Thank you, Rhonda. So.